Hi again. For today I have something that might just change my entire MIDI programming workflow, and honestly I wasn't even looking for this very thing. But let me do the intro first. For years my go-to controller has been the U-Control UC33. Great piece of gear still, lots of faders, lots of knobs, but here's the thing. When it came to my orchestral VST workflow, I was really only ever using 3 of them. So CC1 for modulation, CC11 for expression, and CC2 or CC21 for vibrato control. That's it, everything else was just collecting the dust. On top of that, and this is a small thing but it adds up, the thing still runs on the USB type B connection, you know, the big chunky square one, the one that makes you dig through a drawer of ancient cables every single time. So I started thinking, do I actually need a controller that does everything, or do I just need one that does my thing really well? So I went down the rabbit hole, and I mean really deep, and look, there are some genuinely impressive controllers out there. For example, the GhostNote Conductor is really stunning, the build quality feel, it's clearly built for people who take this stuff seriously. The same thing is with the Fader Premium from MusioTech, as far as I remember. It should have a smooth action, and the overall quality feels and looks really great, and it should looks also great and incredible on your desk. But here's my honest problem, the regular price tags. And I know that the good controller is the backbone of any serious orchestral programming setup. I've heard this argument 100 times, but something in me still couldn't pull the trigger on those. There was this internal friction I just couldn't shake, so I kept scrolling, and then completely by accident, mid Google session, I stumbled on something called the Trident Pro from the MIDI Company. And I want to be completely upfront here, this is not sponsored, they have absolutely no idea who I am. This was a random internet discovery, I bought it with my own money, and what you are about to see is my genuine reaction. So let's open the box together. Alright, so here we go. We have quick note from the producer, lots of paper, USB-C to USB-A cable, which is good add-on since we are not forced to buy anything additional. And now the very controller. Yeah, it will take a while.
3 hours later.
First thing I noticed, the build feels solid, not plastic. There is a weight to it that immediately makes you feel like you didn't just buy a toy, in my humble opinion. And look at these faders. Yeah, the long travel 100mm faders. Yeah, it has some resistance, which is good. This last one has more resistance than the others, but maybe this is a thing which will change during the working with the controller. The best thing for me is 3 faders. Designed to be touched, designed to work with you, designed to be played. No drivers needed, as the note says, because we have a link to visiting the customization page of the MIDI controller. So we should take this web app to customize the MIDI CC values on our own. We have the USB-C connection right there. This is a full plug and play, as the producer says on their web page. Feels clean, modern and black, which was also important for me, and that was non-negotiable for me. The thing that it should be plug and play with 3 faders, so one dedicated for vibrato, modulation and expression, and it delivers, I hope. Okay, so let's talk about what makes this actually useful for orchestral programming. Those 3 100mm faders, you've got plenty of trouble to work with. the length matters, because the longer the fader, the more precision you get between values. When you, for example, writing a CC11 for expression real time, you don't want a tiny slider when 1 millimeter is the difference between a whisper and a fortissimo. My regular setup is straightforward. So fader 1 is for vibrato control, so CC2, CC21. Second fader is for CC1, so modulation. And last but not least, fader 3 is for CC11, so expression. And again, plug it in, the computer should see it instantly without no additional software, no drivers, no please restart your computer. It just should work. And in 2026, in my humble opinion, that should be a standard, but trust me, it's not always. Okay, so the MIDI controller is already plugged in, and this is the part I actually care most about, because a fader can look great on paper and feel terrible in practice. So the thing I'm testing here is simple. Is the movement smooth, or does it stutter, jump, or skip values as I move it? So let me pull a string patch from Cinematic Studio Strings and we will write the faders live. So when we look at the MIDI editor, we can see and watch the values on the screen as we move the faders. So no jumps, no weird sudden spikes. It's just smooth, consistent, exactly what you want when you are performing, for example, soft swell into a tutti, or you want to perform some musical phrases. So now let me do it again, but this time with one note and slower. So you can saw that the values why I played climbing in small even part steps, and that's what I expected to pay for, and that's the whole game for me, because these even steps gives you really the opportunity to control the velocity, so the modulation of your instrument, and the expression, so let's say overall volume, and also the vibrato if you have the opportunity within your VST to control such a vibrato. Now look, nothing is perfect, and I want to be fair here. For example, if you need a motorized fader, so the fader physically moves when you recall a preset, this isn't your controller. The Trident Pro doesn't have that. If you need a massive control surface with 16 channels of automation, this isn't that either. But the biggest disadvantage for me is the lack of let's say a bank of presets. So we know that different VST libraries has different CC values for vibrato, let's say. So Cinematic Studio Strings has the CC2, but the Spitfire can have CC12 or CC21. So it will be good add-on to add, for example, a push button here to recall the different bank presets. So let's say I working with the Cinematic Studio Strings, I push the button here and I have CC2, CC1 and CC11. However, if I work with the orchestral tools, Spitfire libraries, I push the bank again and I instantly go to the another preset with CC12, CC1 and CC11. I think it's technically, and when we talk about the software, easy to add. So it's definitely thing which can be improved in the future build-ups, in my humble opinion. But notwithstanding with these disadvantages, if you are like me, so someone doing orchestral VST programming, and I assume you are, needing a focused, clean, plug-and-play almost solution for real-time CC control with a decent budget, because I think it was priced some kind like $100. So in comparison to other developers, I think this is a fairly priced gear. This hits every single box I need to hit. So the question is, was this a good buy or not? And honestly, for now, I think it was. It's not the flashiest controller on the market. It won't make your desk look like a NASA control with plenty faders and plenty knobs, but it does exactly what I need. It does it really well for now, and every time I plug it in, it just works. However, the question mark in the title is still there though, because the best controller isn't the universal answer. It depends entirely on your workflow, your needs, your music. What I can say is, for my orchestral work, for these 3cc faders, which was a deal breaker for me when I look at the MIDI control, for almost plug and play simplicity, the Trident Pro is right now the best controller I've ever found. If you have used it or you have found something better than that, I genuinely want to know. Drop it in the comment and let's talk. If this kind of the video was useful, a like goes a long way. The link to the product will be in the description if you want to check it out. And if you are new here and you are into orchestral production, film scoring, or just trying to get better at VST programming, stick around. There is more coming, and you can see also the previous video. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy programming.